Hello Aquarius, Elsie here to do your reading. It is for the week ahead, Aquarius. I just did the sneak peek a couple of days ago, and so you have all the energy you need for this week. This is going to be for the week ahead. Let's find out what's going on for you, Aquarius, as we slowly inch closer and closer to the full moon in your sign on the 29th of July. Let's find out if you are an Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, or Jupiter sign. There might be something here for you. Please remember that this is for a lot of people, so it may not resonate with you. But if parts of it do, take that with you and leave the rest here. We're going to do a 9-card draw. Let's find out what's coming up for you, Aquarius, because, man, this is a turning point, friend. I'm excited for you. I have a lot of Aquarius people in my life, and I'm excited for every one of them. Let's find out what's going on for Aquarius. Woo! Look at that. All righty. Well, the sun is here, friend. Revelation, fun, excitement, being in the sun, happiness, seeing everything for what it truly is. Tell me what else is coming up here. We've got the 5 of Wands. So something here is going to be revealed about either some sort of competition or an indecision that you've had. It feels like you'll be making some sort of decision. I keep rhyming. I was going to say with precision. So it feels like there is something here that you are going to decide in a moment. Yeah, can't even. The 2 of Wands is here. That is the place of making decisions. So I'm going to say that it feels like there is something here that you are finally going to realize is what it feels like. Because 5 and 2 is 7. That's 7 of Wands, and that's standing up for yourself and building boundaries or just blocking something. It feels like you are going to realize something, see it for what it actually is. What's really interesting is you can see this person here is reaching out between the sun and the moon. Which one should I take? Which path should I go to? And we already know, spoiler alert, that you're going toward the sun here. I love that. Let's find out what else is going on for you, Aquarius. Oh, we've got the Fool. Hey, this is like sounding pretty good so far. Let's find out what's at the heart of the matter, because that's the reason for the reading, right? We've got the 9 of Swords in the reverse. Look, no more worry. I feel like you are no longer unsure about the future because everything is showing up under the sun. If you are about to take some sort of leap of faith or begin something brand new, really that's what the Fool is. I'm going to say that you are not the same person now as the person who took some sort of risk in the past. And this particular card, this is the deck is called the Marchetti Tarot. I love this, illustrations here. You can see that the Fool card is in the hand of the Fool. But the interesting thing is that this particular Fool card is the one that showed up in the very first decks that they made for tarot. And back then, the Fool was one you didn't trust. They would entertain you. They would try and take your mind off of things that were hard. They would entertain the king, right? And so it wouldn't be someone you would take truthful, honest information from. They were a fool. But you can see that this Fool now has got the mask off. Look at all the etchings in the face. That indicates somebody's grown up, is older, has a lot more wisdom. Now I am taking leaps of faith that are educated, I'm going to say. You're taking an educated leap of faith. You know what you're getting yourself into. You're not worried about the outcome here. Tell me more. We've got the Knight of Cups. All right, so it does feel like something that possibly you may have been thinking about for a while. The 2 of Wands for me is the plan. I've been very articulate or very careful about the plan. The plan's exciting, but I've been very careful about the plan and about making this decision. I've been waiting for the sun to show up to tell me which way to go. It feels like with this Knight of Cups thing, that it feels as though there is something here that maybe wasn't clear to you. Now, the Knight of Cups is one that is thinking things through deeply. It's a deep emotional thought pattern. It feels like somebody here might have been worried about something romantic or how deeply they were feeling about someone or something. And because this is Neptunian energy and can tend to be a little bit of feeling, well, I'll just deal with the details when I get to where I'm going. I feel the potential in the situation. This is the one that meanders and thinks about all the ways and the fantasy ways of riding off into the sunset. So although you are an articulate thinker, right, you don't always make decisions that are always reasonable. I'm going to say, even though you're a reasonable person, I feel like sometimes the feelings come up and we tend to get confused because the feelings are here and we want to think the best for the situation. Just because you have Aquarius doesn't mean that you are somebody who's always going to think about it without emotion. So I feel like somebody here is trying to make a plan to think about something with maybe the least amount of emotion. Somebody here doesn't want to live in Delulu land here, but it feels like you're about to make a decision to stand up and let somebody see exactly what you mean and that you mean what you say. It feels like you are going to take a leap of faith, but look, the Emperor does not offer up the whole empire. The Emperor is somebody who cannot make decisions for the one because they're making decisions for the many. So I feel like you have built something sustainable and solid, and you're not willing just to give that over to anybody. It feels like now you're making very educated leaps of faith. Yes, you have the education, you have all the wisdom, all of that stuff, but this is a brand new situation. And until you get into the situation, you're not really sure how your education applies to the situation. So I feel like you're the one in control. You're the one in control of all of this, and I feel like that's why you're not worried. That although there is possibly a place where you are wavering about how you felt about something, because the Five of Wands is here, it feels like you are about to make a decision and you're going with the plan. I'm going to say whatever your plan was. Let's keep talking here. We've got Temperance. Everything comes to an integration. It's an integration of how you feel, the high highs, the low lows, all the things you wrote down on napkins and papers. It's like you put it all in a book or you put it all online and you look at it and you read through it and you highlight places that maybe could use a little better wording, or it feels like you are coming to a place where you are going to be quite content with the answer. And I think that's why you're not worried, because a moment of alchemy is about to show up. And I think you're prepared because you're in your Emperor energy, ready to make an educated decision under the sun nonetheless. I feel like you're about to make a decision that I think that you're very thoroughly investigated, I will say. And we've got the Nine of Pentacles. So you're very confident. You're very confident about how you're feeling. You're very confident about being very content. Like it feels like it's a go. When Temperance shows up and everything is finally integrated in this moment of alchemy, it's like I'm very sure, very confident that what I'm doing is the right thing. So it feels like whatever you're wavering on right now, Aquarius, I feel like over the full moon, you are going to know with contented, solid, practical, standing in your own energy, standing in your own power kind of energy, you're going to know with an authority, for sure, about what you want to do. We're going to put 2 cards down here. This is what is under the surface that you may not see. Tell me about Aquarius. What may they not see just yet? We've got the 4 of Pentacles. And we've got the Queen of Swords. Okay. Very interesting, because it feels like you are holding back on saying something. But the thing is that when the Queen of Swords is in the reverse, the Queen of Swords is not necessarily liberated. The Queen of Swords might be throwing out questions, asking questions, trying to figure out a way to stay balanced in my decision making. This might be someone who doesn't really have the boundaries they wish they had to make the decision that's going to make sense. That being said, I feel like you're holding back until the Queen of Swords ends up in the upright. But the Sun is here. So I feel like you're going to have as much truth and knowledge as you need in order to be able to make your decision. There's something here that's under the surface, and I feel like you're going to let that go when Temperance shows up, because we've got 1 sword in the hand of the Queen and we've got 9 swords here. What you don't see is the 10th sword is going to arrive and you are going to look at the situation from the other side. So when I see the 10 of swords show up in the upright, I'm going to release it, let it go, it might hurt me. But when I see it in the reverse, and these 2 are both in the reverse, it's like you're sort of stepping around it. It's like the Emperor. I say the Emperor will walk around the outside of the room looking at the thing at the center to make sure that they see all the ways the light reflects. Is there anything I'm missing? That's what that feels like there. Tell me about the Tell me about the 5 of Wands. So what's the indecision then? Why did you have indecision? because it feels like something that touches you emotionally somewhere. It feels like it's a remembrance of when you were a child, and that could be good or bad depending on who you are. I feel like you were holding back because you're like, maybe I'm not making a clear decision. Neptunian energy, a little bit of fantasy, right? Maybe I'm not making a clear decision. Maybe I'm making a decision based on how I felt as a child. This comforted me, or this is familiar to me. It's something that has nostalgia stuck to it here. We've got the High Priestess. It does definitely make you feel some kind of way, because the High Priestess is silently feeling it out. And I feel like you are silently feeling it out because why does it feel so familiar? Why am I so comfortable with making a decision that I had been in indecision about previously? We've got the Queen of Pentacles. It might be something to do with money or property. It could be something to do with time, effort, energy, the way you give to something. It could also be your health. So I think that you were wavering on something that you see as valuable, and it feels like your intuition cuts in and says, maybe you see it as valuable because it was something that you saw as valuable when you were younger. Maybe you've always wanted to be a chef. Maybe you've always wanted to do something as a kid, and then the opportunity shows up and you're like, am I making the decision because I want to make the decision because it's the right thing to do? Or does it give me a nostalgic feeling of, oh, I've always wanted it. I've always wanted it. I've always wanted that action figure, but now it's an antique and it's going to cost me $100,000. Do I spend the money or not? It feels like that. I'm not saying you're buying antiques, but I'm saying it's like that. It feels like it has a value other than money to you. Tell me why the Fool is here. But I think that you can afford to buy it, is what I'm saying. Whatever it costs in energy, time, effort, money, whatever it is. We've got the Ten of Cups here. So it seems like a good idea for you to take the leap of faith. It feels like you think it's going to make you very happy. The King of Pentacles is here. And the King of Swords is here. So look, the King of Swords is the one who's you, right? That's Aquarius energy, Aquarius, Libra, Gemini, because we're in a general reading, right? Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, when we are looking at the Pentacles. It feels like you're trying to be very logical and truthful and honest and practical about the situation, but it feels also that you see that this would be a really good addition to your kingdom. Like maybe you're so the emperor is the person who runs the empire. The empire is made of all the kingdoms. Follow my what I'm trying to tell you through metaphor, right? So it feels almost like maybe you have 3 cars, but this one is the one that you've wanted, the 68 Mustang Fastback. It is the one you've always wanted. I just said that because that's my favorite car. Maybe it's always that one. Maybe it's the shiny thing that you never thought you'd be able to afford. And now that you have your own empire, you want an added kingdom to your empire. Maybe you're buying out a business. I've always wanted to own a Subway. Maybe you're buying out a business. Do you know what I mean? So it feels like if I purchase this, even though it's really expensive or it costs me a lot of time, effort, energy, money, or could impact my health, maybe I want to do it anyway. Maybe I want to take the leap of faith because I know it's going to make me feel happy in the moment. It almost sounds like somebody's been planning for something for a while, and then when it shows up, it's like instant gratification. I need to have it right now. Because it feels like you're very logical and you have a lot of wisdom as it pertains to how you build your 3D world. So 3D world being, money, time, effort, energy, property. So it feels like you're stuck in 2 minds. It's like I can afford it because I've saved for it all this time, or I've come into some money, or I could just sell a piece of property or liquidate a business. But the logical side of you is saying, but is that really what you want? Look into the facts. Look into the details. Take the emotion out of it. Take the 10 of Cups out of it. And what are you left with? Tell me about the Knight of Cups. It's something you feel very deeply emotional about. It could be a relationship, a person. It could be one of those things, emotional, romantic. It could be any of those things that you're trying to make a decision about. But it feels like you're trying to figure out whether this is going to make you super happy or not. We've got the 7 of Pentacles. We've got the King of Cups. And we've got the 4 of Cups. Okay, so I feel that there is a fear. A bit of a fear that I go ahead and I do this, and I put all of this hard work, 7 of Pentacles, into it, that I plant the seed, that I decide that I am going to nurture the process. I'm very intentional with where I put my pentacles, so how I spend my time, effort, energy, or money, and then I get rejected, or it doesn't work out for me, or the deal falls through, or the person rejects me. I feel like you go into this in a lot of stoicism. Look, we've got all three kings out here. The only king that we don't have is the King of Wands, and that tells me that you haven't taken a step toward it yet, that you haven't gone to chase it yet. You haven't gone to pursue it. So it feels like you are feeling very deeply, like really deeply emotional. King of Cups, right? Deep as the ocean. Emotional, maybe romantically, maybe platonically, but you're feeling about very, very deep about something here. And it feels like you're also feeling the four of cups here. The king has one. It could be, what if I end up in emotional regret after all the hard work I put in, how intentional I was, how careful I was, how much I nurtured it, all that hard work for nothing. So let's talk about temperance, because temperance is the place where you're finally going to say, okay, I feel comfortable to say no. I know for a fact I should say no, or I know for a fact I should say yes. Tell me about temperance. We've got the 8 of Pentacles. We've got the Page of Pentacles and the World card. If it's not a yes, it's a hell no. I think that's what this says. If it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no, friend. There is, with the King of Swords, the King of Swords does not waver. The King of Swords, you will know, if you've got an Aquarius placements, right, especially Sun, Moon, or Rising, you will know that it's never a maybe. It's either yes or no, because the facts and the details are going to present the case, and so will all of this practical data, right? Because the King of Pentacles is pinching the pennies, looking at all the beans, counting them all. It's all the data, the practical information, all the analytics are going to look at everything and decide whether you're going to do it or not. I think in the moment of alchemy, when everything is settled, I feel as though there is an opportunity that looks like it might grow to the 8 of Pentacles. But it also feels like you are in this place of, but I've really got to know what I'm doing. Because the 8 of Pentacles is Virgo energy, and nothing gets past Virgo. So it almost feels like this 5 of Wands has you wavering on something because you don't have enough data to say hell yes or hell no. The World card is here and says the opportunity is here. Are you going to close the door and say no and move on to the next thing? The thing is this is all fixed energy, right? The World card is the last card of the Major Arcana series, the end of the cycle. This door closes. It doesn't mean nothing else comes after it. It just means this is a hell no, because these are fixed signs. Scorpio, Taurus, Aquarius, Leo do not make a decision that they will cha-cha on. They will say absolute and infinite yes or absolute and infinite no. So I think when the opportunity shows up, you're asking yourself, am I the subject matter expert? Do I know enough about this thing to know I'm not getting screwed on the price? Do I know enough about this thing to know that someone's not going to break my heart? It feels like you are going to make some sort of really big decision. But look, Queen of Swords is in the reverse. And I feel like right now you're holding back because I don't know that you trust the situation or making a decision about the situation. Why? Because the King and the Knight are both here. There might be a huge age difference. You might be dealing with a water sign. Look, I know, I've seen it. Aquarius and water signs, y'all don't exactly mix. It's somebody who always is living in their deep emotions, and then you who's always living in your literal brain all the time, right? So we've got the 7 of Swords, and I think this is the source of the angst. It feels like there's something under the surface that you feel, that you don't know. Something's being hidden from you. You don't have all the information. This is the what if card. We're going to go into the extended, and we're going to talk more about this. We will pull all this apart, figure out what's under the surface. That might help you make your decision, because you don't have to worry about this anymore. It feels like you don't want to be in this place of every time your head hits the pillow, you're thinking about it. If you want to come into the extended and watch me pull all this apart and clarify everything and give you an outcome here, then please look at the pinned comment that is under all of the videos that I upload. The pinned comment is above all of the comments, and you will see there's a link there for the membership area. That's where I'm going to take this to that area, and I'm going to pull it all apart. If you're interested in watching, if you're interested in a private read, maybe this makes sense to you with something. And if you're interested in a private read, then please look at the link to Hypsee. I do readings that are pre-recorded. I also do them live. So whichever way you would like them, the live ones are always on sale. They're on sale right now. The pre-recorded readings are as they are, but all the prices, packages, and time frames are all listed there when you click on the link to Hypsee. I'm going to go for now to the extended, and if you want to be there, you know how to find us. I'm going to go now, and I'll be back because I'm always back. Take care, Aquarius. You be well. Bye-bye.